Hi everybody, I miss you guys. I want to start something new and we're going to call it Mondays Outside. And I'm coming up with it because I have some fun outdoorsy things that I want us to do, and then also I'm stir crazy, I need to go outside. So first I want to talk to you about the social distancing thing, because I don't want you going outside if you can't do it safely. What I read is social distancing has to be 6 feet between people. Okay, so I use my tape measure, and this is 6 feet from my table to my garden hose. So if you can go outside and you can stay that far away from other people, it might be a good idea to get outside a little bit. I think it's good for you. Okay, so the first thing I want us to work on is, I started a lab back in January with my investigative kids, and it was called Will It Decompose? And so we picked a bunch of different items and we put them in garden soil. And so it's been, if that was January, it's been 2 months since we did that. And so I want to check the tank today and see if any of our items have started to decompose, or maybe some of them have decomposed all the way. All right, so I dumped out the tank. This is what it looks like when you dump it out. These are the things that kind of hung on to the inside. So these are some of the things that are trying to blow away, so I put them back inside of here. This was a chip package, styrofoam cup. These were full tea bags, and now all that's left are like the little paper pieces on the top. So that definitely changed. And I think this was like a bell pepper that was like half chopped up. And now all that is left of it is the stem. Over here, this is a glass bottle, a plastic top to like a soda. There's a plastic top to yogurt. This is metal, like jelly lid. This was, I think, wool yarn, popsicle stick, plastic package, and a plastic fork. And of this stuff, oh, and this was a different kind of yarn. This stuff, none of it appears to have changed. So we broke up all of the soil to try and find our items, and we found half of a leaf, and these are little bits that are left of our tea bags. So now I have a plan for our soil and a few little items that are decomposing, and I know they will continue to decompose, like those tea bags. I bought a thing of worms, which is kind of silly to buy worms, but it's a lot faster to buy them than it is for me to try to find them. So I bought them, and so we're going to put the dirt back in here. We're going to put the worms in here because they need a home. They're in a package right now. I know they want out. And then we're going to set up something cool to do with our worms, and we're going to learn kind of how worms depend on the soil and how worms produce soil. All right, so I put all of the soil back into the tank. And I'm opening up my worms that I ordered. So we'll see how they did, being in a box and shipped and all of that. Super curious. Interesting. We came in a bag like this. Oh, the suspense. I didn't want them to get out. Let's see. Let's dump them out. Oh, they're moving. Oh, there's a little tiny one. Go back in there. Oh, check them out. Ooh, that's creepy. All right, so here's the thing with worms. Worms are decomposers, which means they eat dead organic material and they break it down into really simple compounds, and we call those things soil. So worms make soil, and worms live in soil, and worms go around in the soil to find their food, but the food source for the worms are dead organic material. My worms came with instructions. I'll read the interesting parts to you guys. First off, it says, if your worms seem small and scrawny, this is normal. It's been an average of 4 days since they've had food or water. They will regain their original size and strength within 2 days, as long as they receive the instructed amount of hydration. We're going to water them pretty quick. I think I'll go ahead and water them right now. I feel sorry for them. They look thirsty to me. All right. We'll see what else interesting things we have in our instructions. Let's see, it says, I just got my worms. What now? Worms should be introduced to their new environment as soon as possible. Place them in the center of your garden, compost bin or compost pile. Sprinkle with water and cover them with moist newspaper, peat moss, or topsoil. All right, we'll get those covered in a minute when I'm finished reading. Let's see. Okay, this one says, I put the worms in my composting bin and they are now crawling out of the bin. What did I do wrong? It says probably nothing. For the first few days after shipment, your worms will be restless and busy. We recommend placing a light directly over the open bin for the first 24 hours. Worms don't like light and they are going to be forced to burrow deeper into the bedding to escape, resulting in an accelerated adapting period. In rare occasions, restless worms can be a sign of hunger, dry soil, or some other discomfort. Make sure your bedding is as moist as a wrung-out sponge and keep the temperature between 40 and 84 degrees. All right, the next thing that's interesting on here. How fast will my worms grow, multiply? Worms can double their population every 90 days. Wow. And then it says, can I ever have too many worms? It says, no, you cannot. Worms naturally lay less eggs as their population becomes too dense within an area. So when they get too crowded, they reproduce much more slowly. Okay, so I went and shredded some grocery store bags, paper bags that I had, and so we're going to get that wet, and then we're going to put it on the top of this to try and help keep these guys moist, and then also too it protects them from the light. They don't like light, so we're going to try and get them wet and homey feeling. What you do is you get this pretty wet, and then you kind of squeeze it out like a sponge and then put it on top. I'm gonna let it soak more of that. It's not very wet. All right, I'm gonna give this some time and let it soak up this water rather than just be wet on the surface. I want it to kind of get the water all the way through it, so I'm gonna give it a little time to do that. So I want you guys to think about paper. What is paper made from? Paper is made from dead trees. So paper is dead organic material. So the worms live in it. Well, and they're mostly, ours are going to be living in the soil for right now. But then also the paper is a food source for them as well. All right, that's about all of it. We talked about spending our Mondays outside for a few weeks. And then we talked about social distancing, meaning that you have to have 6 feet between you and other people. And we got to take measure out and we saw how big 6 feet actually is. Then we checked our decomposition items and we found out that the glass, metal, and plastic did not decompose. Then we set the tank up with our soil and our brand new worms. I have a project plan for our worms, and we will get started on it next Monday.